Hi everyone, this is Nate. I am so delighted to meet you again today to talk about our 2026 predictions for the world, for the United States, and with as much detail that I can give you. So, first thing first is that you have the ability to win, to enter to win a personal readings for your 2026 with me, and you only need to do three things so that you're entered for this reading. The first thing is you have to subscribe to the channel. The second thing is you have to like this video. The third thing is you have to comment. So very simple, subscribe, like, comment. You do all three, you're automatically entered for to win a reading with me for 2026. It's very easy. We are jumping into the 2026 predictions. Before that, I wanted to mention that my 2025 predictions for the world and the US is still available on my videos. You can review it, and I really would encourage you to look at it, to watch it. I said, for example, that Trump would be inaugurated in January 2025. I know today it doesn't feel like this is something that was, completely like a breakthrough, but I can guarantee you back in the time, there were a lot of talk about, recount, Kamala Harris being the president, NATO taking Trump away, the military, Trump going to Saudi Arabia. All of that was going on at that time. And if you go back to this video, I clearly said that no, unfortunately, Trump would be inaugurated. And so I just, as we go to this prediction, just want you to remember that certain things resonate or don't resonate. I just encourage you to just listen to it. Not everything I say happens. I am not 100% accurate, but I want you to consider the possibility that I am accurate, as technically everything is possible. 2025, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, you've heard this before. We were in the year before on a year of 9, the year of the hermit here, the end of a cycle. And so there was a lot of energies that were really, really ending because we really felt last year that we were at the end of a cycle. We are moving to a 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, which is the number 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And so there's clearly already for 2026, for the world, for the US, for our personal lives, a sense of movement. This actually makes a lot of sense if you consider the Chinese astrology with the year of the horse. So things are going to be moving, and you're going to feel this move as we get through those predictions. Um, 10, you can 1 plus 0 is a 1. We begin on a year 1, the magician, brand new energies, brand new beginning. This is basically a year of a reset, but these resets come through, a karmic destiny of movement, which means we will be talking a lot about instability, messy situations that come to light, possible whistleblowers, market that are going to be going up and down, information that will come up and down. We are on a reset, but we are on a very unstable reset. The Wheel of Fortune makes us go up and down all year, so just be aware of that. Starting with just a few words about the global environment. I do not see a World War III happening in 2026. However, I do see a large increase in regional conflicts and regional wars. So it means that there is no particular event that will just draw all nations into a global conflict. But we're going to get in different regions of the world regional conflicts more than what we have now. I just want you to be prepared for that. Conflict pretty much throughout 2026 in each region of the world. I also need to tell you, and I'm sorry to tell you that we have threats of pandemics. We're certainly gonna have endemics that are gonna be coming, viruses, and what I need to tell you is that I do feel like it will have impacts on food, maybe on the air that we breathe in terms of contagion. But I also get the sense this is a very wheel of fortune energy, comes and go, that we're gonna hear about a number of those viruses that might come from different parts of the world to a different part of the world. Let's just say the US, and some of them will actually come through, some of them will not, and just be a threat. So this is going to feel a little bit stressful because, yes, some pockets, some pandemic energies, whether they're endemic or pandemics, will come and go. And so, yes, we will face sense of viruses and impacts on the supply chain and on food supply. This energy of come and go, on and off, up and down, will also impact the stock market. It will impact crypto. It will impact the stock market. It is going to be a roller coaster. Fasten your seat belts. The weather also will have a very come and go aspect where you think you get through some sort of large weather impact, it gets quiet and it comes back again. Come and go, come and go, come and go. We are going to be on the edge of our seat. I am sorry to tell you, but this is the energy that I feel here. I'll go into some of those weather events in detail as I go into each region of the world. But let me tell you that I do see obviously a number of earthquakes. There are some earthquakes every year, but we're talking the larger size. I see one in the Middle East in 2026. I do see large floods in Southern Europe, particularly Spain. I do see a tsunami coming into Japan. I do see the north of the US, East Coast, the East Coast and the North particularly going through some sort of ice storm. Um, I do see fires in Australia and in California as well. In Kansas, in the state of Kansas, I just got a message about 3 tornadoes. So I wanted to bring that as well. I told you I would try to be very specific. We're starting with the United States of America. I know 80% of you are located in the US and want to know what I do see for the United States of America. Big picture, let me start with that. I do see a lot of pressure politically, health-wise, on President Donald Trump, and I do feel like this is going to create a lot of problems for him, but also for Republicans, for MAGA. This is going to be a very, very difficult year for Trump and the Republicans due to political pressure, but also his own health. I do see um, a fairly strong blue wave for the midterms, which clearly showed that the House, so as we get to November, will turn blue. However, I have to tell you that at this moment, I'm not seeing the Senate turning blue. I actually feel like it would stay Republican. I am giving myself the opportunity to change this prediction because I felt like it is a bit up and down as well, but at this moment, I actually believe that it will be a Republican Senate. Let's talk about Trump's health. I do see a severe drop of energy, particularly in these first 4 months between now and the end of April. I actually see issues with his blood pressure for entertainment purposes only. I do get the sense like there's a risk of him tripping or potentially falling. I potentially see issues with stairs. Um, I keep saying this is not new, that he would have to go through a surgery. I see him coming out of surgery on a wheelchair. I'm getting issues with chest pain, his heart, general blood flow. I do see a problem in one of his eyes. Something about his eye, one eye will we're gonna be talking about his eye. I am getting also on the mental health situation, obviously a severe increase on his dementia, and I do see him like on air having a problem finding his words or of dealing with a dementia problem. They're also showing me that he will have at some point in 2026 be in a recovery center or in a home, being that he wouldn't be at the White House, he wouldn't be at the Mar-a-Lago, he wouldn't be in a recovery. I do get that for 2026. This health situation will bring a lot of questioning from the Republicans that would really question his ability to lead. There will be discussions about him resigning. However, I still see him in charge in 2026. I do see J.D. Vance being president for a very short period of time. I believe that would be, for example, during a Trump surgery situation, when the same way that Kamala Harris has been president of the United States during Joe Biden's colonoscopy. That would be a situation like this. Um, Good news. I really want you to focus on the good news. Even with just the House, this will this will limit the abilities for Trump to deploy the 2020 is agenda, Project 2025. Yes, a lot of 2025 agenda has been already going through or has been stuck in the different courts, but I do get the sense that this midterm would be a moment where I can see a lot of people us breathing as this will stop and start reversing a number of issues. But it will be limited, as I don't see the Senate right now, but it will still put a stop on it. I do see the elections going through, even though there might be a few issues with like mailing ballots or things like that, but nothing that gives a sense that there will be any kind of cheating in large scale. The election will happen. I also wanted to share with you that when I looked at Melania Trump, I did get the sense that she would distance herself furthermore from Trump, and I got the sense that whether we hear about it or not, of another person in her life, as if there's some sort of connection, affair with another man. I keep seeing another man around her, and it was very, very strange. When I looked at JD Vance, the first thing that I saw for 2026 is working with the tech bros, working on affairs of business and money and relationships. And I do see him really focusing on that, positioning himself, but I see himself more positioning himself on the business side, on the money side, on the relationship side, um, involved with some of those AI deals and things like that. I do see a very strong connection with the business. I actually see for Vince as well him having some sort of romantic connection with another woman that is not Ursha Vance. And I do feel that this also might be something that there are rumors about or we talk about. Um, and there were some discussions about that in the past with Erika Kirk. I don't know if this is Erica Kirk, but there is another woman. The same way that I see a male around Melania, I see a woman, another woman around Vince. Very strange. Let's move to Pam Bondi. I do see a lot of issues coming up for Pam Bondi's, and I do see her in many ways taking a lot of blame for the handling of the Epstein files. I do see her being the victim of whistleblowers that are going to be talking of business deals or abilities of corruptions that she has been involved. I see her dealing with all these issues. Ultimately, this will lead to her license to be removed. I don't know if this is in 2026, but that's the final outcome that I see. Cash Patel, I do see Cash Patel trying to hide in 2026, trying to go under the radar as he feel like he has been overexposed in 2025, and he will just try to disappear, and so that we don't really talk about him. Marco Rubio, I do see Marco Rubio continuing to please Trump and actually expanding his ability to build connection overseas with his current role. I do feel like he's building a network of information that would position him to be a future candidate for the presidency. He is going above and beyond to build a connections overseas that would actually uh, position him with a lot of power and information. Tulsi Gabbard, which has been for the towards the end of 2025 very quiet and under the radar. I do see her continue to try to be under the radar, trying not to be seen and not to be controversial, but I do see her involved a lot behind the curtains as well. I do feel like she's also trying to position herself to be a presidential candidate. So we need to keep an eye on her. I do see RFK Jr. being caught into a lobbying issue. I feel like this is relating to his work in the health department. I get the sense that he will be, there will be some sort of lobbying, whistleblower issue as well, and controversy. I see Marjorie Taylor Greene continuing to be involved on the political side with some sort of movement that would be an offshoot of MAGA. But I also see her working on a deal with lobbyists, business, money. Her eyes are on the money, and I feel like she is shifting from slightly from political to the business side or the lobbying side. And so it's still political, but she is trying to make some money. I do see an issue as well for Tom Homan, who's either leaving or I get the sense that his area of responsibilities will be shared or reduced. But I do feel like it's going to be a big challenge in 2026. Mike Johnson, I do see him going all the way to November. November, there will be a different Speaker of the House, but I don't get the sense that he will be politically challenged until then. However, I keep getting justice problems, and I do feel like he's going to have lots of problems with the law. We are going to start hearing about it leading to the midterms, and after the midterms, we will see his legal issues coming through. I do see a lot of issues coming up between the Trump children and the kids. And I do see issues related to preparation of inheritance, discussions about the will. And actually, I feel that it will be a bit of a surprise that uh, Barron's Trump, the latest child, will be able to secure a good share of money and control over MAGA. We will see Baron Trump take more and more of power this year as well, but there will be fights between the children. I do see one Supreme Court justice leaving, one of those more leaning towards Republican. And I feel like this is going to be a resignation, but also there will be a lot of controversy, and it's basically a resignation, maybe ahead of some sort of bigger issues coming their way. I didn't get a name on that. I talked about the midterms. I do see the House blue, not the Senate. The Epstein files, I do predict that there will be Epstein files document that will be shared by newspapers, unknown sources, foreign media with unredacted portions. And so what we saw as redacted portions will be actually unredacted in those documents, maybe even some photos, etc. This will create even more pressure on Trump as more connections will be obvious. And so his health and the pressure from the unredacted documents will keep on the pressure with him. The economy in the US, jobs are becoming a real issue. And we're going to see in this next couple months lots of concerns with jobs. Companies that are not mostly AI driven will have to let people go. We are going to see disillusions in the job report. Numbers will not be correct. They will basically, it will be a big illusion that the economy is doing well. We'll know that there will be a lot of issues. The income inequality will grow, and it will lead a lot of people to protest for availability of income, healthcare, inflation issues, the issues that we discussed earlier with the health threat, such as endemics, pandemics, and that will lead to a lot of protests. I do get the sense that the stock market will have a hard time, and it will be very hard for people to understand the stock market. As I keep saying, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's almost as if the government will try to artificially bring it up, but can't really do that on an ongoing basis. So it will keep going down, and they'll try to bring back up again. It will be messy. It will be difficult. I believe that overall, the better I would really advise, this is not a financial advice, but the advice that I see from the energy of the card. Don't overreact whether it goes so high or so low, because obviously it will keep on going up and down. This is true for the metals such as gold and silver. This is true for stocks. This is true for crypto. This is true for the housing market. It's going to be very hard to get stability on any of those markets. And that's very challenging. But remember, it's a year 10, it's the Wheel of Fortune. We're going to have to ride through those waves. I do feel also that the US dollar will get even more depreciated like it did in 2025. For example, lost 20% to the euro. It will be another big drop. This will create also a lot of instability in the stock market and in the overall currency market. Talking about currency markets, we are going to see a big push towards e-currency, also known as digital currencies. We will see the EU making I predict the EU will make one big step towards a e-euro or whatever they're going to call it. And this will lead not in 2026, but over the years to the end of credit cards, as the money will be already electronic, and so the use of credit cards will be no longer needed. You will see these e-currencies taking place slowly in 2026, and I feel like it will start in Europe. I do believe that those currency issues will have ripple effects, particularly in Asia, and I will talk about that when I discuss Asia. Let's talk about social media for a little while. There will be a revolution in social media as AI will integrate more and more of social media to a point that people will look at Facebook, Instagram, whatever those platforms are, and because everything will be managed through AI, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, to know what is an actual information versus what has been actually created automatically by AI, and people will get severely confused in terms of information. Be prepared that social media will be a mess because it's going to become very impossible to know what has actually been created by a content creator or actual news versus information auto-created by AI. And people will in 2026 be extremely confused, and be prepared for a lot of up and down again information, as we will be totally confused. Even, let's say, Facebook page from a friend, and it might be actually overridden by AI layers underneath of it. We will actually start to lose control over our social media. This will create problems for social media companies, possibly leading over the years to also a complete revolution of social media, where it will have to be completely vetted or reviewed so that AI doesn't meddle with actual content. What else? There will be progress with health. That's good news. Particularly Alzheimer's disease, cancer. I believe that there might be vaccines for certain cancer. I mentioned this before. I see animal rights and communication with animals using AI. I was also shown more and more people that were on wheelchairs able to walk with AI robotics. So they were showing me people on wheelchair and they walk. Of course, I know you can do that with robotics, but on a large scale. Um, some celebrities, I also do see a pregnancy for Taylor Swift. I do see the end of the Katy Perry Justin Trudeau relationship, and I do see severe issues health-wise for Joe Biden. I don't know if Joe Biden will be able to make it in 26. I am concerned also for Bill Clinton. I am concerned for some health issues with Nancy Pelosi, and I'm concerned also about a health issue for Ted Cruz. Those are the names that were coming to me. I also do see an issue surrounding the Pope, where there will be some sort of controversy where is trying to be a bit more liberal, and then there's backlash. This could be on women's rights or LGBT issues, where just trying to move the lines a little bit, and it would just bring a whole controversy. That was what I saw here, specifically for the US. Let me talk a little bit about Europe now, and obviously that includes Russia and Ukraine. I do see a form of ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, uh, but I feel like this is going to be very similar to what we saw in the Middle East, where there will be, I don't know how well this will be respected. Let me put it this way. I do see Putin being under a lot of pressure in 2026, also with his health. Um, and I do feel that there will be a movement that's already working to remove him. It could be a combination of a health issue and a movement to remove Putin. And I feel like it's either be gone from power by end of 26 or early 2027, but this moment is coming. I also do feel in 2026 huge economic struggle in Russia. I also do feel that in this ceasefire deal, there is a portion of the Ukrainian uh, territory that's owned by Russia. I also do feel that they will be that after that ceasefire, I do see Zelensky leaving, and I do see a new power in place. The new power in place feels like it's coming stronger, and Ukraine being stronger, and Russia being weaker. Actually, I do feel years from now, this is not a 2026 prediction, but years from now, that actually there will be more collaboration between Europe and Russia, and actually find ways to collaborate on maybe on the economy, or finding ways to work together. I know that seems a bit crazy, but I feel like after Putin leaves, this opens the door to warmer connections between Ukraine, Europe, Russia, uh, and so that's positive in a way. Um, I actually do see in 2026 that at some point Russia will have some sort of incursion, which could be a drone, which could be a boat, which could be a plane. There will be some sort of intrusion on the European NATO territory, which would technically call for Article 5. And I do see that Trump will not respect Article 5 and not come to the rescue, even though this would call for an Article 5. That will be a big issue. Moving on to the UK, I see in the UK serious issues with the economy. I see the current government with Starmer gone, and I do see lots of issues related to the economy, the stock market, the housing market. In Italy, I was shown that there will be some sort of a train issue. And I do get the sense of some sort of a train accident. So it could be a derailment, something like that. Spain, I do see uh, the current government being under a lot of pressure in Spain, but what they were showing me is floods in September and October. In Germany, the AfD party continuing to rise a little bit like the right-wing party in the UK. I also see a government collapse in France, and there are thoughts that the government might not collapse because waiting for the new presidential election in 2027, but I still feel like there would be a change in government in 2026. And that's for Europe. In Canada, I didn't get much information other than Carney. I still do see Carney staying in power, but being very challenged politically, economically. But I feel like he's doing a good job to resist and overall doing a good job. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of pressure. I also feel that in some pockets, areas of Canada, having challenges related to the housing market. In the Middle East, I do feel that the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza will keep being on and off. I don't see like we have currently. I see Israel continuing to have some sort of interventions in the Gaza area. I do see instability in Lebanon. I do see that Iran will have a lot of economic challenges, and but will also show demonstration of force when it comes to nuclear power. And I get the sense that it will uh, basically make the Trump administration look bad because the action that was taken by the Trump administration in 2025 feels like it was kind of useless in a certain way because Iran will demonstrate its nuclear force in 2026. You remember the action that was taken, but then moving the nuclear uh, program to a different location. I get the sense of that. And so, yes, there will be activity in Iran as well. In Africa, I do see a US intervention in Africa, a military action, some sort of in the context of peacekeeping, but there will be an intervention by troops, nevertheless, not a war, but some sort of intervention and peacekeeping. Let's move on to Australia. I actually do see a fairly good economy in Australia, doing a lot of business with their neighbors, even with the US. However, I do see an extreme right movement, nationalist movement, like everywhere in the world, rising in Australia. New Zealand, I do see economic struggles, particularly with the stock market as well. Um, this kind of card up and down will show there as well. And I do get the sense that real estate in some major cities could be under pressure. Let's talk about Asia for a moment. I do feel like there's going to be very strong geopolitics issues in Asia, but also lots of weather problems in Asia. Let's talk about Taiwan for a moment. I am not seeing a clear-cut war, but I see a conflict, a crisis with military possibly involved around it, and somehow the US being involved and Japan being involved in some sort of protection or conflict that would also involve China. In China, I get the sense that Xi is ill. And so I do feel that this is going to be revealed that President Xi, is very unwell. I see a surgery as well, and I'm not sure that is gonna be able to make it past 2026. There might be a illness that will be discussed openly, with also a lot of economic pressure on China. I do see floods in Vietnam's and Philippines, and I feel like this will come out of typhoons. I do see the restart of tensions between India and Pakistan, a mid to large size tsunami in Japan, and they were also showing me banking systems issues across Asia. And they were telling me like maybe like banking, stock market, something like that, where people would be locked in, like cannot access the systems, which tells me also that in Europe and in the US, around spring or summer 2026, I get the sense that there will be power outage, solar flares, and when we refer to 3-5 days of darkness, that's what I see here, an actual darkness of power that will not be able to restart, which means issues with electricity, with getting gas, with paying, at the same time that there will be a push towards more electronic currencies. So if you want to take what I'm seeing for those predictions and what can you do, I would just be very careful if you have any kind of investment, whether it's a real estate investment or a stock market or a crypto investment. I am not saying, oh, there's going to be a massive crash and that's the end of it. No, you're going to see a lot of volatility. And so make sure that you don't overreact. I feel like you want to weather through this year, but definitely don't overreact as it's very, very, very jumpy. Make sure that if you can get cash on hand, if you can get gas in your car at all times, make sure that you carry that with you, and also food that you can actually keep on hand, as I do feel that whether it is for a pandemic, an endemic, or 2-3 days of darkness, whether they're coming from a solar flare, a power outage, a cyber attack, or some storms that I see will be very strong this year. Particularly water will be a problem, either a flood or too much water or not enough water. This is going to be too much, not enough, too much, not enough. You got the point that we are going to be a little bit on an edge of our seat in this constant movement. The only thing that I want to tell you guys is that, ladies and gentlemen, is that when we get in the US to the midterms, there will be this breathing moment where we'll feel that we can actually stop this current pressure that we're getting, and particularly this instability. Things are going to get more stable past September, October, November, December. It's really at the beginning of this year that we might have to fasten a little bit our seatbelt. Okay? In the meantime, I wish you and your family the best possible year for 2026. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for watching this show. I wanted to give you as many specifics as I could, and I will do a follow-up on this show. So if you have questions, mark your questions, for example, as a comment on this video. If you like, subscribe, comment, or ask a question as a follow-up, you are entered automatically to win a reading with me so we can look at your 2026. Also remember that I have your 2026 predictions by sign on a playlist on my channel. Those predictions are also available on the Third Wish magazine that you can have by sign digitally or also on paper. You have a link down below if you want to procure this magazine. Thank you so much. I will also put the name of the winner for the December 2025 prediction. Someone who has liked, subscribed, and commented will be drawn and will win a reading with me. I'm putting a wish for peace and love and compassion and care for us, for our families, for our animals, for nature, for everyone around us. I can't wait to spend some time live with you on a follow-up show, and I appreciate you watching my channel and this video. Thank you.